There's a church that worships snake handling, I learned about today.
Snake handling?
Formed in 1910.
I thought you said steak handling,
and
I was interested in steak handling.
Hello and welcome to Around the World with Taylor Jackson, a redux, a revision, a deconstruction of the show. Please welcome Taylor Jackson, everybody. Good to see you, man. How you been?
Hey,
Take a seat. Take a seat, man.
It's been so long.
It's been like 10 minutes. Around the World with Taylor Jackson. Tell me, legally, this might not have happened.
It's day 0 of production for a show that we're not sure if it's for Nikon or not. Legally, we'll talk about it some more over this episode, but it's become a little bit more challenging than anticipated. That's not gonna work. And now we're at the airport, headed to Santorini, Greece. We don't practice Santorini. We've got no crystal ball.
Yeah, so within YouTube guidelines, for us to go out and do a travel show not associated with a brand, I feel like that's fair game. That's kind of editorial content. I feel like that's cool. As soon as you have a sponsor, it becomes something more of a commercial use.
Okay.
So we didn't know legally if we could go and do this. That we knew that if we shot stuff in a studio, that's fine. We can get full release on that. I can get a signature from you.
Right.
But when we head somewhere like Santorini, we can't realistically get a signed release of every single piece of building that's in a frame, including every single person. And when you're doing a travel show, yeah, we just didn't know. So I literally had a call with our lawyer.
Yeah, you talked to a lawyer. So do we have a clip about that? So in your travels, Taylor, you've traveled around the world, every continent, at least once. You spend a lot of time in airports. How do you maximize that time so you don't waste it just kind of sitting around waiting for the ball to drop? What do you do?
I like airports. It gives me time to I feel like I can work better under pressure. And if I know I have an hour to get all my emails and everything that I need to get done,
right,
I get it done in that hour.
Right.
And then we go and we enjoy ourselves a little bit more. So I like the time pressure sensitivity of that.
Yeah. And for this episode, Santorini episode, you had over 3 hours of content just in the airport before you actually left Toronto?
I think you shot at least. For those that don't know, Tim is the person behind the camera, and yeah, I think we shot a dim sum sequence. We shot a lot of content at that airport. We had a full episode before we even left the airport.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You are a fan of Anthony Bourdain. True or false?
It's true.
True. Did you try to make your shows like his?
I think that's why we filmed the dim sum sequence, because it was the first. Santorini was the first episode we did, and the first shot sequence was a food sequence, and then we just ended up not using it.
Yeah.
But I think that was the inspiration.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And interviews throughout the entire episode too, right? Touching base with people who are actually in the locations we traveled to.
Yeah, we boarded a lot. I think the first 3 episodes we had a number of interviews, and then we kind of phased those out when the production schedule got a lot more tight, and we had to do a lot more very quickly. But for the first few episodes, we had some time. We went to Santorini, we talked to Anna. I enjoy having an excuse to actually reach out to people and to be like, hey, we're doing this thing, we'd love to involve you. I feel like people enjoy getting that email, that it's an email that's actually welcome for once, whereas usually an email is like, another thing I have to respond to. Yeah. That's like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
You gonna hang out with Taylor in a hot tub? This is such a big screen of me in a hot tub.
You look great, man. So talk about this scene specifically. We have a wedding going on in the background.
I'm photographing a wedding that I'm not the hired photographer to, right there.
Yeah.
From the hot tub.
And then let's talk about this couple. This couple here, we know them from our local town. They were traveling the world for a pre-baby trip that they were taking as a couple, and it kind of coincided they were in the same place at the same time. How did that work out?
It was they like a year before, they were like, hey, we're going to be in Santorini this time. Do you have any photographers you'd recommend? And I was like, we'll go. And so we literally went because of them. Santorini was always a place I wanted to go, but it was never a place that I actually had on my calendar. And then this was like, oh, that sounds like a good excuse for a work trip. And then it coincided with the Nikon trip that we didn't actually have full sign off on when we left for the first trip. So we didn't know technically if we were making the show, legally if we could, and then also from Nikon, we didn't know if they were actually a sponsor.
Right.
So yeah.
Just kind of hoping.
Yeah, we had the time. So we had the time booked, we had the trip booked, and we just didn't get those signatures in time, but it all worked out.
How does food play into your atmosphere?
This is like the greatest meal. We
tasty.
ate at this place how many times?
At least 3 times.
I think more than that.
Yeah.
It was more than that. I think
we were
it
there
was
for 4 days. So,
yeah, I think it was every lunch we had there, and then as well as maybe 1 or 2 dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the beginning of this episode and every episode for the Taylor Jackson Around the World with Nikon, and Nikon's in there too, and Taylor Jackson's in there. we decided we were going to do kind of a spoof on a movie or a scene or something we really liked in the art world that pertained to that location. So Santorini, the closest thing we could think of was Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Tell me how that came together.
That was you, man. You brought the costume, you brought the hat. It's the hat that Tim wears all the time.
Not today.
And yeah, I think we put more effort probably into the intros than we did the entire episodes usually.
Yeah.
The episodes are all good, but I feel like the intros like are really where we shine.
Truly. Do you have any closing thoughts for the show about Santorini, Taylor? Anything you really enjoyed about this episode? Creating it, editing it, delivering it to the people?
Santorini was great. I think that it's one of the strongest episodes. Chronologically, it came out kind of towards the middle of the release schedule, but it was the first episode we did, and I don't know. It was fun. I feel like it's one of the strongest. We definitely overshot it because we didn't really know exactly what we were doing. And yeah, Santorini.
Out of 5 bluebells, Taylor, how many bluebells do you give the city of Santorini as a travel destination?
I think I give it a 4. It was a great trip. It was a good time. We went very late season and we got very fortunate with weather. So I think that was a thing that could have really ruined it, that if we didn't have these beautiful blue skies, it would have been a very different trip. And after speaking with Anna, she's kind of like, yeah, this is very, very rare that there's not as many tourists, and also the fact that it's still nice out. So I think we got very fortunate with that. And without that, it might have been a little lower, but I think it's definitely something that you should put on your travel list. Well, you've been there, so you don't need to put it on your list.
I was there
been
too.
Everyone.
I was there too. That's all the time we have for the show about the show. Let's go to the show.
Let me tell you about my boat.
Stars are tracing the sky like city windows. I watch you reflect in your eyes. Slow dance on the New York City high-rise. You and me on top of the world. And I'm feeling like it was only ever you. And I'm feeling like it was something I won't lose. You were a part of me. I swear you'll always be. I swear you'll always be a part of me.
If photography alone is the reason for your journey, your photographs will always be empty. Travel with a purpose, for a reason, to create something of value, something that is important for both yourself and your subject. Packing for this trip was really important to us. We thought a lot about it. One of the things that we wanted to bring was a power bar, and we made sure to bring a power bar that would fit absolutely everything. We attached this carpet to it as well so that it would match the floor here at the Air Canada Lounge.
Ready?
This is the first shot of the Nikon show. Frame number 1. Brand new Nikon Z6.
arrived at our hotel here in Santorini, and there's a wedding happening out front immediately, which is funny because we're wedding photographers primarily. And I think I'm gonna have you guys like right here. And this is just gonna be the first shot and probably also the nicest shot that I've ever taken in my life. And I'm gonna make you guys just slowly walk up the stairs and you can be looking at each other and yeah. And if you wanna hold hands and just walk towards me over here and just smile at each other and pretend it's the greatest walk ever. Cool. That looks so good. All right. That's good there. Right there's good, yeah. And you guys can look at each other. And this looks really, really great. This is by far the cheesiest photo you can take, and if you just want to be like really romantic with each other, you don't have to be smiley or anything, you can just be serious. A lot of people think the golden hour is the best time to take photos. I personally prefer blue hour, which is right now. The blue of the water, or the blue of kind of the doors and everything, the pools, really kind of ties it together at this time of day. So I don't understand why all the photographers packed up and left as soon as the sun hit the horizon, because for the next half hour, 45 minutes, there are some good opportunities out here. It's perfect. One of the challenges with travel photography is not only are you competing against yourself to get a great image, but you're also competing against every single person that's ever been to this place in every single other perfect condition that you could ever dream. It's currently 12 noon here in Santorini, and Santorini is one of the places that I actually don't mind shooting at 12 noon. I'm not going to be out shooting the dramatic landscapes, but I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on details. Since everything's really white and reflective, it's actually kind of a good natural contrast to have the white walls with the blue ocean and the blue sky. So we're going to go for a little bit of a walk and shoot some details, and that's all. Here we are in the lineup for one of the most Instagrammable spots in the world. And we're gonna wait in line and get our photo just like everybody else.
You know, everybody wants that shot that they saw on Instagram. Everybody wants to get that double tap on their photo.
You have to go with the pace here. So in here, you go fast and quickly and just move around. And sometimes I'm not touchy person, but I have to adjust my couple very fast. So it's like, see, there are like 20 people. So it changes a lot. Yeah. So 10 years ago, it was totally different. It was like empty, like quieter in the winter time. Now winter is getting busier.
Now that I'm using my newest Nikon camera, I thought it'd be interesting to use my oldest and first Nikon camera.
We have a very special segment for you right now. It is brought to you by the Nikon D50. This came out in 2005. There are 5 autofocus points, so if you look through, you get your choice of left, right, center, up, or down, and that's it. The tiniest little LCD, and featuring this 32 megabyte SD card. This was the first Nikon digital SLR that I ever got, and I had a 50mm 1.8. Today we actually have the 28mm f2.8, which is one of my actual favorite lenses still. It's a full frame lens, but it's kind of from the same era, so I figured we'd go for a little bit of a walk. From the 32 megabyte card, we actually get 3 raw files, so we only have 3 frames to get one shot that's worth showing to you guys. So let's go for a walk around the property and see if this still stands up to today's standards. This is a 6.1 megapixel Nikon D50.